Let's go through the draft, though. We're going to go through it pick by pick. We're going to focus just on the quarterbacks today because that's what we do here at Sims Complete. We talk about quarterbacks. And we're going to start with the number 1 pick, Cam Ward.
Right.
Miami going to the Tennessee Titans. Brian Callahan and the boys got their star quarterback. Your thoughts on what we thought was the shoe-in already for the number 1 pick in Cam Ward. It came true. Cam Ward, Tennessee Titans. What do you think, big guy?
Well, Tennessee didn't want to take him number 1. There were, I think, quite a few other teams that would like to take him number 1. And I'll just say this. If you didn't have Cam Ward as your number 1 quarterback, I don't know what the hell you're looking at, and it's – I thought there was a big separation between him and the next guy, whoever you want it to be. And look, in fact, he got downplayed the whole time. There was no focus on Cam Ward. Let's see, right. Big, very strong runner, breaks tackles. He will in the NFL too. Big time arm, makes the throws. Really, in my eye, very good decision maker. Every once in a while, he's pretty damn confident in what he can do.
Right.
He's not afraid to take a chance or make that power throw. Arm strength is overrated, in case you didn't know, man. It's overrated. But it isn't overrated with him. And when you're a defense in the NFL, I think he's going to make a pretty quick transition to the NFL. And defenses, they always got to be alert. Him getting out of the pocket and throwing the football deep down the field, but a great choice by Tennessee.
Yeah, do you feel like Cam Ward has been overlooked the entire process, and even too on the draft night itself with the Jaguars moving up to take Travis Hunter? Here we have the number 1 pick going to a quarterback, and yet it just seemed like nobody really cared in a weird way this year.
Well, there wasn't a focus on him the whole offseason, really, when you talk about it.
Right.
It's everybody knows at a certain time that he is going to be the first pick. And it's like, okay, that's over. We ignore it. Let's go on and move on to what's going on after that. And of course, we know what that is. Shedeur Sanders, when's he going? All these things. So, yeah, I thought he got slighted. But, the great thing about him is I don't think he cares. It's the way he's been raised, the way he's played. And he went to 3 schools, and he just knocked it out of the park in all 3.
Yeah.
The more I watched him as the year was over, the more I got really like, wow, this guy is special. And he's in a tough situation down in Tennessee. We'll see. But, Brian Callahan came from the Cincinnati Bengals. I would think I'm going to see more of what the Bengals did this year with Brian Callahan designing and calling plays.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he does fit a little bit more of the style that Brian Callahan was doing there with Joe Burrow when they were there together in Cincinnati. And I think that Cam Ward will be able to do those things extremely well at the NFL level too, because he is a good decision maker. And the one thing too that I think is really overlooked at times, just the dude is tough as nails. He is tough as nails. He's resilient. He's a really good leader. There's so many good stories about him too. There's one that I heard where he has a workout planned at Miami, and he's got everybody set up in this group chat. They're going to meet at the field. A receiver texts him saying, hey, I'm going to go throw with Lamar instead. And Cam Ward says, hey, hope you enjoy catching passes from Lamar a year from now, because you're not going to be a part of our crew then if you're taking time out to spend time with Lamar and not with us. So I just like the fact that even though it was Lamar Jackson and all that, Cam Ward is basically saying like, hey, you're on our team. You're a part of this group. We don't give a damn about Lamar and the Baltimore Ravens, what they're doing here. We got to work on our stuff. So kind of just shows you a little bit of just like Cam Ward and his demeanor and how he carries himself. And, it's really authentic too. I think that's just generally who he is when you hear him speak, and just to see his emotions post-draft as well. Really cool experience to see just his journey, right, from college all the way through has been absolutely tremendous. It was cool too. I also saw another little deep dive after the fact. Guy only threw like 20 something passes in high school. So for all you parents out there who, want your son to go pro and you're focused on all these stats and all this stuff and where your rankings and who this, that, whatever, you got 2 great case studies. You got Josh Allen, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, couldn't get any offers, couldn't get any looks, all that kind of stuff. You got Cam Ward now, damn near only 20 pass attempts in his whole high school career. So I think it worked out for him well. He didn't peak too soon. We know that. So wow. Cam Ward to the Tennessee Titans. Really excited. I think Cam Ward's going to be absolute stud in the NFL. And I'm really just I've been disappointed with everybody with how the fact that they overlooked him, because I really think he is just he's a baller. He's a baller.
In fact, some people downplayed him, which was ridiculous. That just tells me that your bias is through the charts bad. But Cam Ward is an all-around athlete. Everything he does, he's really good at it. And the other thing is, he's always the captain of the football team, because all of his teammates and coaches can see he's a natural-born leader. Yeah. And it's not the vocal guy or whatever. And he plays it many ways. I've said this. He was a little bit of a gunslinger, but when he needed to be a game manager and be the coach on the field and everything, he did that really very well too. And it's funny. Oh, well, his competition, come on, the ACC. Oh, come on. You got certain people just had to find ways to somehow take him down a peg or whatever, but it didn't work. He was a quarterback clearly from the start to the end and the drafts. And you're right. Nothing was said about him during the offseason, really, and he had no attention paid to him in the draft.
Yeah. So. And you know what? He went through the process the way that you should, right? He went through the process and just did all the things that were asked of him, and he performed at a high level, represented his school, represented his family well, and that's why Cam Ward went number 1 overall, because he is the best player in this year's draft as far as the quarterback position goes, and it worked out well with a team who needs a quarterback right now. So now let's go to the New Orleans Saints, round 2, pick number 40. The New Orleans Saints select Tyler Shough, the quarterback out of Louisville, Kentucky, Jeff Brom's finest. Your thoughts on Tyler Shough and his marriage now to the new head coach and Kellen Moore?
I think when we talk about, especially go back to the Jackson Dart pick, that you said it, 1 of 3 quarterbacks. I thought they were all close or to a degree, and I was not going to complain no matter what. And Tyler Shough, sitting there, I can see why New Orleans took him. If the Giants would have taken him over Jackson Dart, I would have understood. And the same thing, doing it with Shedeur Sanders. So Tyler Shough, and I had people tell me this, that, hey, he's a little better athlete than you think, than he's graded for. And his arm is a lot better in person than you think too. And he truly can make all the throws. He's mobile, moves around. He ran a great offense. I think it was a really good pick for the New Orleans Saints. And I think it's perfect for Kellen Moore, because he has enough mobility that they can use it that way. But again, there's no play you can design in your offense in the NFL that he can't make that throw. So, right. It was a solid pick. And nobody talked about Tyler Shough at all during the year either. And, it's just because he's just not a story. He's not, what's the word for it, Matt? Just doesn't have big enough personality for us to just go in there and do it. But everybody started talking to him about the last week or two, because NFL teams were saying, look out for this guy. And finally all the other people and TV people catch on to that. And they bring it up, but they didn't even really bring it up like they meant it. They just brought it up because somebody in the NFL told them that. So, yeah.
And overall, we know Jeff Brom extremely well at Louisville. You spoke with him a few different occasions this offseason. You were impressed too with just the fact that, if Jeff Brom gives you the seal of approval of being a tough guy, being a good leader, having great attitude and all those kind of things, then it's legit, because it's hard to impress Coach Brom in those fields. So clearly Tyler Shough brings those things to the table, which is always important for the most important part of the leadership role in quarterback play. He's 26. So he's only got 4 years to really play well before he's too old and he's got to get out of the league. No, I'm just joking, because that's one of those things that kind of keeps popping up. He was in college for 7 years. He's a grown-ass man. And guess what? In the NFL, you play with grown-ass men. So I think Tyler Shough will fit in really well in an NFL locker room with other grown-ass men that are very focused on playing the game, to feed their families. So I'm not worried about that whatsoever. Tyler Shough, really good football player. Think that he'll be able to transition well. Now, with their current situation too, Derek Carr, we don't know, shoulder injury, all that. Spencer Rattler, we have there. Jake Haener, he played a little bit, but Spencer kind of came and replaced him really quickly in that experience. We'll see how Kellen Moore values some of those 2 football players as they continue to go along. But do you think that Tyler Shough maybe if he impresses, is he day one starter for the New Orleans Saints to start the year this year in Kellen Moore?
I would think that, grooming him and rushing him and all those phrases I hear constantly, which, like I said earlier, drives me nuts.
We get it. What do you think about what I asked?
I am. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
I'm not taking orders from you. I would think he's going to have every opportunity in the world to be the day one starter.
Yeah.
And I think they want him. I don't know. I would think they want him to be a day one starter. And Kellen Moore, what he learned in Philadelphia and how to manage a quarterback a little differently than he ever had in the past. I think he can do the same thing with Tyler Shough and to get him off to a smoother start where it's just not a disaster. Right. And sometimes, to be honest, you just got to pull back and maybe not give your team the greatest chance to win, but you're just trying to make it work to a degree where the quarterback has got confidence and doesn't lose it, those type of things. It's really a tough spot as a play caller and a head coach sometimes to accomplish it. But Kellen Moore's, he's one of those guys I think he definitely can.
Yeah, for sure. And I agree. I think, big picture wise, Tyler Shuck's going to be the day one starter, I think, for the New Orleans Saints when it's all said and done in September. I think he's going to be the one that walks out there. They also started the draft, too, with Kelvin Banks Jr., the offensive tackle from Texas, really good football player. They went back to Texas with Broughton there, the defensive tackle. So there's the New Orleans Saints kind of focused on the depth of their offensive defensive line with their first and then their third pick. They also got Danny Stutzman, the Oklahoma linebacker there, who's a very good football player, very productive football player. And Devin Neal, who I think is a very sneaky, good running back that, of course, in a deep field of running backs, kind of got overlooked, of course, because of Ashton Genty and the two guys from Ohio State. But Devin Neal, very good football player. So I think Kellen Moore and the crew did a good job there with their first draft class. So now we transition to round 3, pick number 92. This is where I feel like in the draft, we all started to go, okay, clearly the NFL and what the media were saying were two different things. And they viewed the quarterback position totally different than what some of these big boards, as far as our mock drafts go. Jalen Milroe, the Alabama quarterback, goes to the Seattle Seahawks, pick number 92. Big guy, Jalen Milroe, Seahawks, Mike McDonald. What do you think?
I guess where he was picked and what round and all that didn't surprise me. You heard a lot of talk about first round and all that. I thought, wow, that's really reaching. And, I didn't think that would happen. It didn't. But Jalen Milroe, the one thing about him, which you and I have said, the great thing is he can come in and play for you week one in a certain role. Would I play him in that role in week one in the NFL with Jalen Milroe? Absolutely. Put him in there. Hand the damn ball off, throw a screen, and then pass, or of course, put a running play in. And who's their head coach? Where'd he come from? He came from Baltimore.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's in his mind too. And, I think so when I look at it, he can give you, let's just put a number, I'll say 10 plays a game that can really make the other team have to work on and be ready for. It's just more information. And and his running talent is extraordinary. His throwing, he's a thrower. He's not a passer. Okay. Right. He doesn't have that passer's touch and all the flow to it and relax. He's a power thrower. So if they do throw it, they're going to give him a read where he can just honk it in there, man. He ain't going to be trying to lay it over one guy in front of another. So, and that's what he does. It'll be interesting, but I understand the pick for sure. And I think it is going to work pretty well for Seattle using him this year.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious too, just what does this mean for Seattle and Sam Darnold? We'll see how that plays out, but clearly just adding depth to their quarterback room, adding talent, and just another player that brings something else to the table. And we've discussed this multiple times. We really enjoy the fact it's either your backup's got to be damn near a carbon copy of your starter, or he has to be something completely different and unique to himself. So you don't have to worry about running the exact same offense, or he doesn't do it exactly the way Sam Darnold does. Well, you won't have that issue in Seattle. When Jalen Milroe walks in, he's not going to be playing like Sam Darnold. They're going to rebuild that offense and form it around him and his skill set to what he does extremely well. We'll see what Clint Kubiak has in store as far as drawing it up for both quarterbacks to be successful. Now that DK Metcalf is gone, Emeka Egbuka really is the number one weapon that they have at the receiving core. And now with DK gone, Lockett gone, we'll see how they formulate those big-time plays for him down the field with him. They got Zabel in the first round, the North Dakota State offensive guard.
Right.
Manwari, the missile out of South Carolina at the safety position, so adding speed. They got Arroyo, the tight end out of Miami, a very good football player as well, a guy that probably can start right away. Riley Mills, a very sneaky defensive tackle from Notre Dame that was really a big piece to why Notre Dame, I think, maybe struggled at times, especially in that championship game, because he was really the cornerstone of that defensive front. Torrey Horton, good, solid football player out of Colorado State, very savvy veteran football player. And another sneaky guy, too, that I like, Damian Martinez, the running back out of Miami. So Mike McDonald went to Miami twice. Damian Martinez, big physical running back. They've struggled with health at that running back position with Kenneth Walker. They got Damian Martinez. They got Charbonnet. So maybe, that whole group there can come together and make some things work. But Jalen Milroe, 92 to the Seattle Seahawks. Kyle McCord, round 6, pick number 181 to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Mount Laurel, New Jersey guy goes to, kind of quote unquote, technically his home team. He grew up as an Eagles fan.
Right.
His father, Derek, used to take him and the family to a lot of Eagles games. And Kyle McCord gets drafted round 6, pick number 181 to the Philadelphia Eagles. We have a personal relationship with Kyle and his family. We were very excited to see this pick in some ways, in other ways. But hey, that's our guy. We're proud of him. We're excited for him. He is a pocket passer through and through. Showed an unbelievable amount of growth as far as leadership and his ability to play the position from Ohio State to Syracuse. And I think really put a lot of good stuff on tape for, all the NFL people I spoke to. They really had a lot of great things to say about Kyle McCord. A lot of fans enjoyed Kyle McCord and wanted their team to pick Kyle in the later rounds because they saw his talent and how he plays and think that he could be a really solid backup. Big guy, Kyle McCord, Philadelphia Eagles. That's your boy. Are you a little disappointed, though, that he is an Eagle and not a Giant?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. And I was just disappointed. I was hoping Kyle would go in the 4th or 5th round at the latest.
Right.
And, when you watch his tapes and his game, which we did and I did, he had a bad game against Pittsburgh. He threw 5 interceptions. But literally the team every week was dependent on one thing, him playing well to win the game.
That's right.
And he made great throws every single game. He went against Cam Ward late in the year, I guess the last game of the year. Miami wins. They're probably going to go to the playoffs. They are. And Syracuse, Kyle McCord matched it drive for drive with Cam Ward, made great decisions. And by the way, Cam Ward did a great job in that game too. But he showed so much that he is just every day he's going to come out and he's going to throw the football. It's going to be pretty. He's got power. He's got touch. And he's tough as hell. And I mean, I know we know him, but man, is he a determined guy. And he always look, I keep saying, look, Matt, you would work out with him sometimes. I'd come and watch, and just he's got the endurance of a mule, man. He can throw forever, and it never gets tired. So Philadelphia really, I think, got a great steal with Kyle McCord, and I think they'll see that day one to go on the field. He goes, damn, it looks even better in person than it did on film, and I think I think very highly of him. There were 3 other teams. I was like, wow, I wish he would go there because that offense really fits him. But you don't get to choose the team you want to go to. You just got to wait, and he'll make it work in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and I really do think that he's in a really good position with Tanner McKee and Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who they traded for early in this offseason. I think Kyle McCord really will have an opportunity to, at worst case, be a practice squad football player and then kind of earn his way to being that backup there in Philadelphia because of his skill set, because of the consistency, like you mentioned. The dude's been a pro for a very long time, and I think that's the reason why we are always impressed with him. The way that he carried himself, even in high school, he carried himself like a grown man and a professional at that time. And that stayed true throughout his time at Ohio State and Syracuse as well. So Kyle McCord gets picked up by the Eagles. Eagles had a really sneaky, good football draft. And it's unbelievable just how well they do as far as the evaluation process goes. They like the SEC, I know that. And they like big people, I know that. So that's a common trend there. Jahad Campbell is an absolute stud. Definitely one of the steals of the first round to me. Would not be shocked either if Jahad Campbell lines up a little bit more in that defensive line there for the Philadelphia Eagles in certain pass rush situations. Makuba, he's just a headhunter. He's actually kind of borderline dangerous when he runs up and hits people at times. He's going to be a really good football player with Reed Blankenship getting a little bit older and going to probably want a new deal here pretty soon. Makuba would be the likely guy to be that next heir apparent at that position. Ty Robinson, big dude, defensive tackle, 6'5", 280 over there from Nebraska. So the Philadelphia Eagles replenishing a Super Bowl roster with just more big people and then a really good quarterback that we know personally very well. So really excited for those picks. Now let's kind of just do a big picture. I'm going to throw all these next guys in one lump and just see what you think, because we're 52 minutes in now to this quarterbacks. And
I'm going to be quick on all.
We got a few more. So we got Will Howard to the Steelers at pick 185, Riley Leonard, 189 to the Colts, Graham Mertz, someone that you liked very well, 197 to the Texans, Malat, the Montana State quarterback, 213 to the Raiders, Miller, North Dakota State quarterback, 215 to the Raiders, which I thought was pretty interesting. Curtis Rourke, 227 to the 49ers, a very good football player coming off of the ACL injury, but really liked him a lot. Really think that he probably would have been discussed more if he wasn't injured this offseason. And then Quinn Ewers, Texas quarterback, 231, going over there to play with Savvy Mike over there and the Miami Dolphins. Big guy out of that group of QBs there lumped in this 6th and 7th round. Your favorite match for a quarterback team out of that group?
I haven't thought about that. I'm just going to do this.
All right.
Riley Leonard. Okay. Good runner, good size, not an NFL thrower right now. So we'll see how that works. Goes to Indianapolis, right?
Yep.
Graham Mertz goes to Houston. Good arm, good size, was hurt, has mobility. I think really good speculation, whatever you want to say, pick by Houston.
Right.
A lot. He's going to be the Raiders. He's going to be a wide receiver. And I saw him on TV 3 games or 2 games late in the year last year on a Friday night, a playoff game. That SOB can run.
Yeah.
Man, it's like, give me the ball, and here I go again. And it was really almost their whole offense every time. So that was Miller from North Dakota State. The Raiders got him. Good decision maker. The offense has got a little more pro to it than you think. Overall, I thought he played really, really well. I wish he had a little more arm strength. That would be the one thing I would say there that I would worry about. Right. And then Rourke from Indiana, that's interesting. Now he played the year kind of hurt, so how that turns around, that'll be fun to watch. And the last one, Quinn Ewers, that's a big surprise. Where 2 years ago, a lot of people said, oh, he's going to be the first pick of the draft, but it was just a rough year. High ankle sprain, man, oh man, oblique injury. It couldn't have been any worse. He got roughed up, but when he was healthy, he played well. He does have a good arm, so we'll see how it works out for him. So I hit him up.
Sure. I like to Quinn, just that match in that Miami Dolphins offense. I think that he's a player that throws a really good layered football. He's able to throw it under defenders, over defenders, has great touch, plays with good anticipation. I think, a rhythm type of based offense, something that at times we would see at Texas, but maybe not as much as maybe it would fit Quinn's style. But I do think that his style of play matches the Miami Dolphins extremely well. I do like the Curtis Rourke to the San Francisco 49ers. I think that, San Francisco, I think they only actually evaluate quarterbacks out of the Big Ten conference just by the way that they draft. So that's pretty interesting. They just have a type, that's for sure. And then Graham Mertz, yeah, a guy that we really liked a lot. Yes, he suffered the ACL injury, I think against Tennessee this year, was doing some really good things right before he got injured. He's another guy too, like a Curtis Rourke, like after he gets healthy, really think that he can hang around and stay in the league for a while because he does have a lot of good traits and toughness and can throw the football well. So, go ahead.
I mean, the Quinn Ewers, to Miami.
Yeah,
I didn't even have it written down. I was like, that's right, man, Matt. He fits that offense. You said it. He fits the offense. This is like, here he is, and what team really fits who he is. And I think that's the Miami Dolphins. He's got very good touch on the football. Likes to throw with touch, maybe too much. Sometimes you just got to rip it in there. I wish he would do that more, but he's a better athlete than we give him credit for too. Because when he was healthy, he was not afraid to move around. And when you're healthy and your leg is healthy and all these other things, you could see he had more power on the football.
Yeah.
Damn, you're overcoming an ankle injury and an oblique injury. I can't imagine what the hell they did to him to get him ready to play. But a brace on the ankle. Remember that Oklahoma had a brace on the ankle, this and that. I was like, man, I felt bad for him. But when he was healthy, he showed that he could be, a guy that can hang in the NFL for quite a while. So we'll see how it works out.
Definitely. All right, big guy. Overall, though, my last question for you, though. All right, who is the team that you thought won the draft?
Oh, my gosh.
Because they all won the draft, right?
Yeah, everybody. Every pick is just the greatest pick ever in history by this team in that position. I would say Cleveland is way up there. That's one. But I just got to be honest. I haven't looked at it in that way yet. And I think what I'm going to do the rest of the summer or whenever, I'll do a team. I'll look at each player and kind of write my thoughts about them. Because, there's no way I didn't look at all these players during the offseason. Everybody wants to hear about the quarterbacks. So I kept going back and watching them again and again. But, which is a good thing, too, because I learned more. Yeah. And then I get a better feel for who they really are. And I thought you did some great descriptions of where they're going, where they've been, and how it fits just in not the physical world, just that he's our kind of guy.
Right.
And so that's fun to do. But, yeah, who won the draft? I'm sure as hell not going to grade them when the draft is over because it's too confusing to me. Yeah. But, so it's going to be fun. Really, the first thing I'm going to do, Giants and Jets, I'm going to look at their free agent pickups and study them again. And then I'll go over every draft pick and really see if I can come up with how I really think and how I judge them. So that's going to be fun, too.
All right, great. So I'm going to just say, off the top of my head, like what the Eagles did, because they're just staying true to form as far as just what they try to do, just big, strong, badass type of football players.
Right.
Happy for the Giants getting their quarterback of the future, but also getting Abdul Carter, strengthening that defensive front. I also think that Darius Alexander at Toledo is another nice addition too, if he can really kind of fill it out to that position in the middle there with Dexter Lawrence. I think that's really interesting. I said the Browns earlier, like what they did. Like what the Raiders did as well. The Patriots, I think, had a really good draft and offseason. So I think a lot of football teams really have uplifted their teams tremendously with this draft class. And again, we'll see how it all plays out. But so far, a fun start to the offseason. Now on to OTAs. We'll see what the media says about, who threw what interception and what 2-minute drill and all that kind of stuff and have debates about that, which is always fun. And I love when Big Phil gets pissed off about those type of things.
He was so sharp. He was 9 of 10 and just it has died a little bit, but oh my God, you were part of it once. I came up to watch y'all practice and Mark Sanchez and Tim Tebow are kind of fighting for the job, I guess, which is incredible. It shouldn't have been that way, but I'd never been and watched a team where there's no D lineman or offensive lineman. They call it 7-on-7 in the NFL, where the quarterback didn't like what he saw, so he just ran. And I was like, damn, I played 15 years in the NFL. I don't think I ever ran with the football in 7-on-7 because you're supposed to throw it. Right. But all the reporters were judging how many throws, how many completions, all this other stuff. And I think one day they even mentioned you in it because you threw a 50-yard pass into a trash can. So That's really impressive.
Well, there you go. I wasn't throwing it to anyone on my team. I was throwing it into the trash bin instead.
Yeah, y'all were throwing it in the trash bins and you threw it in there. Maybe did you throw 2 in a row with it or something?
No, really the day that you're talking about was we were doing a drill to end the day there. It was like post conditioning and all that with Coach David Lee. Shout out to David Lee, the greatest Southern accent I've ever heard in my life. And he was like, hey, he goes, all right, hey, let's do the little trash can, dump. We're having fun, all that. Mark Sanchez hits it. Tim Tebow hits it. Greg McElroy hits it. And then your boy capped it off. So we actually got 4 in a row. But I was like the only one that got credit for it, actually. But it's all good. Those are the fun things that you do with your quarterbacks during camp when you're just trying to buy time, in between all the other crazy stuff.
You're just feeding into the narrative that so many people have on your team. The quarterbacks have it too easy. And they're probably right, but that's the way it goes. What do you think about game day when they're taking hits from big defensive linemen? How easy is that? But it's fun.
Hey, it's part of it.
Yeah. Okay. All right, man. Well, thanks. Good job.
Hey, thank you, Phil. Always a pleasure. Well, that's all we got for Sims Complete. We'll be back, I don't know, at some point, here pretty soon, talking more, I guess more football. So he's Phil Sims. I'm Matt Sims. See you later, everybody. This is Sims Complete.